Hear me? What's up?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good.
Thanks for joining today. I'm gonna give people just a few more minutes
So,
to join in, and then we'll get started. Dope shirt.
somebody told me I look like a referee today.
Was that a compliment or?
I was just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, referees are swaggy.
Yeah. You in LA?
Say it again.
You in LA?
No, I'm in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta until Thursday, and then I'll go back to LA. I'm actually gonna move back here, so coronavirus has not helped me execute a lot of things that I thought I was gonna do. So I'm gonna come back home for a second and then work on some things here and then make my moves back to the West Coast. So
All right.
well, it's a little bittersweet, but
Pretty
no,
sure
home is always are the hardest. So um,
it's still like pretty shut down, right?
LA is completely shut down. Like
Yeah.
that's honestly why I had to go was because like there was literally nothing that we could do. Like the IE area, like Inland Empire, which is more west of LA, like they're open, but they're also very conservative about a whole bunch of other things. So they don't. I don't think half of them even believe coronavirus exists. But the LA City and LA County, no, they're not playing that at all. They opened back up, but then they shut back down.
Yeah, I was supposed to be out there last month, and that was kind of what happened. It was like I had a guest spot out there, and literally like it shut down a few days later. So
They're not playing. They're cracking the whip down too. Like they are finding people that are open. I think our numbers are passing New York's numbers. LA's numbers were, or at least super close to it. Something ridiculous like that.
we were doing the best right now. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that people are getting really tired of just being inside, and I think people are getting, antsy and anxious, and we haven't really been able to hold to our commitment to actually like sit the fuck down somewhere.
we're
So
what been almost 6 months, like.
it's crazy,
Yeah,
right?
I still don't think it's gonna find normalcy until next year. So it's
Right. I agree. I
yeah,
agree. So
everybody figure out like what's next and what's gonna
we're
be.
gonna have to redo 2020 for sure, because it's all the summer plans. Summer's basically over with now. About to get into flu season too, and I just feel like it's about to get worse than we thought. But anyway, we'll talk about some happier stuff now. We can jump right into it. Again, thank you all for joining. We're gonna anticipate a few other people who are joining today. Today we have a amazing artist out of New York, Jozzy Camacho, who is working at the Inked headquarters in New York City. If you don't know what Inked is, you're asleep. Make sure that you follow them on their social media and also follow Josie. I have tagged and pinned her social media below the comments. Um, so, Josie, you've been tattooing for about 8 years. Is that correct?
I made 8 years in March.
Awesome, awesome. So 8 years. She's super talented in a variety of things. I think that one thing that stands out to me is your exceptional black and gray work, and specifically your lettering. I feel like that is something that is a very like specialized skill. And so maybe we can start there. Maybe you can start off by telling us a little bit about your background, what got you into tattooing, and then I want to like shift more into your style specifically.
Okay, so I started tattooing. I was 20. I really didn't. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I was always into art, but it really wasn't. It wasn't a goal actually. But I started getting tattooed very young, around like 14, 15, and I got like a really bad tattoo, and I was just like, yo, like I could probably do this better. Like, and it just like the idea sounded great, but it was probably one of the hardest things I ever took on. Like,
For
so, but it's also one of the things I never quit. So I just kind of stuck with it, and I found like my love for realism, being so influenced by the West Coast black and gray, was
Yeah.
for me. And it was like it was. I feel like it was so much more popular at the time that I started tattooing versus now.
Hmm.
But lettering and like the Chicano style, and it just like it influenced that path for me for sure.
Yeah, For sure. I love your mention of the fact that like your shitty experience kind of drove your, desire to like do it better. I definitely think that a lot of us in the industry can resonate with that. I feel like part of the reason that I've been, so heavy in making sure that have a foot and hand in everything tattoo is because like my first tattoo experience was shitty as well. And I just didn't want people to have that experience anymore. So that's why I do the tattoo referrals, and that's why I'm, promoting the artists I know that do quality work because nobody should have to have a shitty tattoo experience. I feel like tattooing is all about like customer service and, having an intimate connection with somebody, very personal, situation tattooing is in general. So I just feel like it should be lovely and nice and everything you hope it is. And then, of course, you're stuck with this thing forever. So
Right.
you love it. And then when it doesn't turn out how you want, I definitely understand, where your mindset was at as far as like, okay, now I gotta change the game now. And you certainly have. You certainly have. Can you speak to a little bit about how I guess you got specifically? You talked about how you were inspired by what you saw in like the West Coast style. What Tell us about like your journey to perfecting or getting where you are now is where as far as like your skill level because your work is something that is not very common.
So for me personally, I just did a lot of studying, and back then it wasn't like we didn't really have access to social media. There was an Instagram 8 years ago, you know what I mean? Like, and if it was a very small platform. So I found a lot of inspiration in watching like the old-fashioned YouTube videos, or I would buy DVDs. There used to be tattoo DVDs that you could buy, and you
Right.
could like you start to find artists and become more knowledgeable, and you study those artists. And I mean, out of every 100 artists, there's going to be at least two or three that is going to give you some form of advice that you could take. And my main goal over like the last 8 years was to just travel around as much as possible to be able to be and share the room with those people, so I can just watch for
Yeah.
myself, So I did
Yeah.
a convention thing, and I did that like crazy. I was doing 4 shows a month. I was on the road every single weekend, and that's how like you put yourself around people to learn. I think that's the best way.
For sure, for sure. Could tell us about some of the people who I guess inspired you or helped you on that journey? Who are those people who were you were looking up to during that time?
Um, Probably there's a few. Cleo Kanan was probably one of the
Mhm.
first black and gray artist that was like super huge, and she was a female. She
Yes, woman power.
dope as black and gray. And then my boy Gabriel out of Miami, he kind of like really helped me from Miami while I was in New York, kind of like with everything. He would tell me all the secrets that most people wouldn't share. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Letting artists too, BJ Betts, Flux, Big Me's. Like I followed a lot of them, and I used to buy all of Big Me's videos because he used to sell like these crazy DVD packages with books and shit. And I
love
would,
it.
yeah, like I would you find the people that inspire you, and you know what I mean. You try to find yourself through that.
For sure, for sure. Yesterday, I was interviewing an artist out of Baton Rouge, Ty Viper, and we talked a lot about the importance of continuous education within this industry, and how we feel like that, hasn't really been upheld in the way that it should be. Like the way that you're talking about is like you're building personal relationships with the people, investing in their books, in their videos, they're actually putting together curriculums, for you to actually, learn how to improve your skill. And, that's something that's so important. And that's the only thing that's going to kind of help tattoo, the tattoo industry, last as long as we want it to last, which hopefully is forever. Like if the art is lost, if the teaching is lost, the art will be lost, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I still do it. Like, luckily, like most of it is free now because you can catch everything online. But I still do it. Like, if Big Me's is selling books or DVDs, like I'm still buying them just because it's like it's important. You're like they're growing just as much, but they're people as well. So,
For sure, for sure. Love that. I'm interested in knowing just from your perspective, what's the thing that you enjoy most about tattooing?
um, when I'm able the realm to be creative with like as much
Mm,
freedom as possible. And I mean, I'm not a huge people person, but like sharing so much time with someone is very vital for the way that we process things and the way that what a tattoo means to somebody is sometimes way more important than we could ever fathom, which is pretty dope too. So it's important to like for me to be able to give that.
Definitely, definitely. I've seen a shift in, some of your work, and we briefly spoke on this as we were prepping for this interview, as far as like your shift towards doing, more lettering and more, female figures, female faces. What drove you to make that decision?
Honestly, I always loved the female face things. I've always loved the lettering. I think like tattooing a female face is probably one of my favorite things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I guess when you're starting out, like the main goal is to just learn how to be good at everything until you like finding your niche and finding the style that makes you stand out. It's like it's really hard, but I finally found it, and now I'm just like, this is it, and I just want to keep like honing in on it and making it more me. See it, they know it's like, yo, Jozzy did that. You know what I mean?
Yes, 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 for sure. And I love how you talk about just like the idea of something being, meaningful. I think that that is one of the reasons that I have committed, my life to, staying engaged and staying and supporting the tattoo community, tattoo industry. Um, so that's very interesting for you to bring up as well. Um, Tell me about how doing the work you do, being a tattoo artist, having these clients creating these amazing pieces for people. How is it meaningful for you, to be kind of like that servant for those people, to do these pieces for people? What does that mean personally for you?
I mean, I guess depending on the piece, like my recent work has been, it's literally just been a lot of clients that are just kind of giving me free reign of trust and letting me do.
Hmm.
People who like see it and they're just like, that's dope. I don't really know what it means or what it is, but I think I could wear it, you know? And I mean, that's like humbling as fuck, you know what I mean? To have like, I don't know what it is, but like I'm comfortable with it, you know? But when it comes to like things that are more intimate, like, portraits or memorial tattoos, that stuff is like, that's more so like that's me doing a service for them versus them being a customer to me really.
For sure, for sure. What's something that you have yet had the opportunity to do that you're excited about the possibility of doing?
I want to do more faces and more heads, more like more predominant areas. Like that's I'm really excited about that.
That's fun. Faces. Ouch, first of all. But
Uh,
that sounds scary, but also fun. Do you ever get nervous, when you're doing these?
Ew, before every tattoo, like every tattoo, I'm just like, all
Uh,
right,
kind of get you give yourself like the pep talk, like.
outside, get some air, drink a lot of water, like walk around for a second. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for your transparency around that because I know, a lot of artists would not even, be honest about that and like their nerves when it comes to doing that. But that's something that's, I feel like, really important for clients to know is like, it's kind of like making it more personal and also like kind of humanizing you as the artist. At the end of the day, it's not just, you're not a robot over here just laying out a service for them. Like, this is going to be an adventure for you as well. So I love you bringing that up. Um, Tell me about a piece that you've recently done that you enjoyed doing.
As of right now, I'm working on this leg sleeve. On this like super young chick, and she just has like a vision for art that's so dope, and she just gives me like the full creative room, whatever I want to do, with like a little bit of input but not much. And she's just like, yo, like I like what you're doing, like let's do my whole leg. And I'm like, you serious? Like you dead ass? Like all right, let's do it. And she's super young. Vision for art is like insane, you know. I wish I like when I was 18, like I had even a little bit of the common sense that she has, you know what I mean? Because I was just like, tattoos, like, and she's just more like very tuned in and honed and scaled on the things that she wants and the quality of work. And I've been enjoying working with her, man. Like, she's allowed me to do just about everything I want, so it's
That's
pretty cool.
awesome. That's awesome. Um, Speaking of, your journey as far as getting your tattoos, and you being able to see, her journey as such, a young woman, do you have any tattoos that you regret getting?
Oh yeah, like the whole left.
What?
Yeah, I
Not the
started.
entire lips.
I started really young. I started getting tattooed when I was 15, and I was getting tattooed like at people's houses and
Yeah.
just very quick and very rushed. I had like a full sleeve by the time I was like 17. So it was just like it was a very rushed thing. Like it was like I was one of those people that just like I just want to be covered, you know, like And that was like that put a lot of bad work on me. So, but I mean, I don't mind it now. It's like a part of my process. They all mean something. It's just the quality,
Exactly.
you know. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that, if we start to like change the way we think about it, like not necessarily this is something I grabbed, it was just part of my journey. It's part of my process. That's something that I was going through during that time, and maybe I can't identify with it anymore, but it was cool when it was there and when it happened.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
But um I'm curious to know about if you have any, I guess, pet peeves, if you will. What are something that will is known to tick Jazzy off if we do it while she's tattooing?
Oh God. um. Uh, the people who like if they're especially if they're even if they're not in a place where they can look, but you know those people like every time you like pull a line, they just like look up, like look,
Yeah.
or like every time you like wipe, they just look up and look over, but they do it through the entire process. And again, like my sessions are normally very long. Like I just changed my schedule to where I'm not tattooing 12, 15 hour days anymore. So I like cap 7 hours at this point. But like
Okay.
spend that much time with someone, dude, and just have them just like, now I'm just looking like, oh my god, like, sit back for a second, just relax.
they're they're the chaperone. They're the proctor. They got to make sure that every single thing that you do is
Bruh, like
up to their expectations.
the person that brings 12 friends, like come on, like
Oh my gosh, I could definitely agree with that one.
yeah,
I always wonder what's up with that. Like, and maybe you can like should shed some insight on that. Like, do you think that when people come with a whole clique, it's like because it's like I guess they see it as a group activity, or is it like they just want people to see how cool they are? Or like,
that's what I think it is. I think it's like people they want people to see them in an exterior. I guess I don't really know because when I get tattooed, I don't really want to be around anyone, and I go by myself. You know what I mean? Like it's like nobody like I don't who wants to like tattoos hurt. Nobody wants to like be in pain and have a bunch of people watch them while they're in pain. So it's just like I don't know. It's a very personal thing, but you have
definitely.
every once in a while that are just like the seven cousins, girlfriend, like
They got the bottles open, blasting music. Like it's a Instagram live.
that close, like they're all over top of me. Like that's like a rule. Luckily, the studio I work at doesn't allow it, so like that works.
Okay.
Like you have like a one person minimum in the back per person, so it's just like yeah, nobody's
That's
coming.
definitely a perfect description in the comments of the entourage. That is definitely something that I could see being a
Yeah,
point of for a lot of artists.
like sure.
What would you what advice would you give to people who are first time tattoo clients?
First time tattoo clients. I really just tell people to like research your artist. Don't go to somebody because they're good, but go to somebody because they're doing the things that you want to do. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like at this point, especially with the amount of talent that we have in the industry in general, just do your research. You don't have to like the person, but like the quality of work that they're doing. You know what I mean? I think it's just super important. Know that you're getting what you want and spend whatever it costs if it's worth it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You're actually the first person who, well, maybe it's just not come up in my other interviews, but the first artist to mention that. And I feel like that is something that eventually I'm going to have a whole session on is like the financial etiquette of tattooing, of art in general. I feel like people just don't understand how like monetary values are assigned to art because I mean it's very abstract if you think about it. Like how can I assign a cost to someone's work of art? But I feel like the way to go about it is whatever they say, that's what it is.
You're not just paying for the process of the tattoo, right? You're paying for whatever time and energy that person put in to make themselves great. You know what I mean? And some artists that's 15, 20 years worth of tattooing and the struggle of it. And we don't get like the average shit that people get. We don't get retirement. We don't get, paid vacations. We don't get like medical insurance. We don't get any of the thing that a standard job would get. So like you're not just paying for one tattoo, you're paying for someone's the
Mhm.
longevity of the livelihood that they took so hard to create.
It's deep.
Yeah,
It's deep, and for that, it should be honored as such. Including with the amount that you pay for it. So 100%. Whenever I figure out how to get a group of people to talk about that, I'm definitely gonna ask you to chime in on that, because that is something that, even as with the referrals that I do, I get a lot of tension and pushback from people around price discussion. And that's just something that I feel like can be alleviated with simple education. And like we have in the comments as well, tip as well. It's just common sense. If we're going to spend all that time together and all that hard work, this is literally like you are physically working, hands cramping up, back aching from leaning over.
Yeah.
And go on and on about it. For sure. Um, so we know that tipping and tattoo costs can be something that's a big challenge in the tattoo world. What other challenges have you found yourself up against? Like, has there been a situation where somebody has asked you something like really weird to do, or a weird tattoo concept or weird placement, or like just they wanted
Yeah.
rose petals at the door when you
I've had a few weird client requests. I've had people ask me to spell things incorrectly on them, like, or just improper grammar, which is always very uncomfortable. But they're just like that. They want it that way. Like you do,
Okay.
I guess. And I've had weird placement. I think I told you earlier when we were prepping that I had to tattoo this guy's like ass, just a whole butterfly, like with the wings out. It was insane. It was
Butterfly. I don't think you told me it was a butterfly.
It was like the whole thing. It was just like, and it was in the beginning of my career too. So like, it was like my first year in, and like the guy that I worked for was just like, yo, like do everything that you can, get your hands tight, like do it. You know what I mean? I was just like, it was a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
Love it.
yeah, improper grammar probably like frustrates me the most though. Like,
For sure. For
it
sure. Yeah. I never understand. I mean, I do understand it because it's not about us at the end of the day, right? We try to think about it's for the client, but then I also feel like people are going to look at that and be like, "Who did that?" I'm not going to them, unless you get the whole story of like
exactly,
this kind of misrepresentation of your work.
exactly.
Super messed up. What can we catch you listening to in the studio when you're tattooing?
Probably like alternative rock, like '90s alternative, like Guns N' Roses, or even like new age alternative, like Hozier, like the Lumineers. I'm probably the only person on the planet that likes Nickelback. You know what I mean? So like,
Love throwback.
yeah, like that's kind of my lane. Three Doors Down, like I
Yes.
more alternative rock when I'm working.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fun.
sure.
Tell me about your personally, for your body, your most painful tattoo experience.
Hands down, dude. I just got this done. It was so bad.
That is so clean, though.
He
Oh
killed.
my gosh. But it looks like,
It was so bad. It was so bad. I got my feet done. Like I have my knees done. I have like my stomach, like my sternum, my chest, my throat. Like none of it was. Well, none of it was as bad as this. It was like excruciating.
were you crying? Were there tears?
No, I was just like I was at this
Such
point.
a treat.
Yeah, like I get like an anger. I'm like get to a point of like pain. Like I start to get angry, and then I'll just like giggle. I'm like, give me
Yeah, displacing the discomfort. It's like, no, I'm fine. This is fine. Everything's
that. And he like kind of like stick poked it, to like get it in. So it was just like
fine.
it's pretty rough.
Super clean
Worse.
work. Yeah, I always have to like kind of just have a zen session with myself after every tattoo to kind of like get myself back together after going through such terrible pain. And then for some reason I always end up making more appointments after that. I don't know. People
Yep.
say are addictive. I'm not sure if I think that's true,
I don't.
but there's definitely something wrong with me, the fact that I keep going back. So I'm sure you can identify with that as well.
I mean, after you do it, you're just like, all right, it's done, and now I have it, and now let's do more. I don't know. The older I get, the less tolerance I have to like. You don't want to go sit underneath somebody's needle for hours. Like I'm just like that doesn't seem like a good idea.
Literally, literally. And I do think that what you're saying about, kind of being able to like reflect on what it was, kind of brings up the idea of like that therapeutic aspect to me.
Right.
So, of course, the show is called Ink Therapy. So we always ask this question: why do you think tattooing is so therapeutic for so many people?
Um, I mean, to be, I think depending on, like I said, depending on the people's purpose for tattooing or why they're getting a tattoo is like, I think people need sometimes to learn how to channel whatever it is that they're going through and to put it into something else. And I have been in a position where, not in the right mind frame, you get tattooed, and that, it's weird as it sounds, like that pain feels good. You know what I mean? And like, so I can understand why people would do it for that purpose. I think it's therapeutic though, because like I said, if you're doing it for the right reason, then it's able to kind of grasp a part of your brain that other things can't, you know. And the best part is that, like, you have to sit still, like you're forced to sit still, and you
Mm,
control your movement, and it's, I don't know, like it helps you hone in on everything.
yeah, for sure. No, I actually never thought about like the physical challenge of having to like maintain a space of stillness for a super long time. So I love the fact that you brought that up. 100%, I can definitely see how that could be therapeutic, and just the challenge, that internal fight of like, I have so much on my mind, I have so much going on in my life. Maybe like the way that it manifests itself is I move around or I keep myself busy, and literally you're just like sitting with yourself
Yeah,
for
quarantine. Like everyone was like forced to just, I don't know. For me personally, I had like the most like persevering like self awareness throughout this. You're forced to sit still, and that's so uncomfortable for people to do. Especially,
yeah.
I think that's why it would be considered to be therapeutic in a sense.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you for that. We're gonna shift into our game round. We always end the interviews with a little bit of fun, so we're gonna do a round of this or that. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this or that questions, I'm gonna give Josie a list of this or that. I'll say, for example, baths or showers, and literally she doesn't have time to think about the reason why or explain herself or anything. She just has to give me an answer, and then the rest is left up to your interpretation. All right. So, are you ready?
I'm
Here
ready.
we go. Inside or outside?
Outside,
Color or black and gray?
black and gray.
Charmin or Angel Sloth?
Charmin.
That was such. Uh,
No, that's not that. Yeah.
if you use Angel Soft, something's wrong with you.
Right, exactly.
Your butt stinks. That's what it is. If you use
Exactly.
Angel. Okay, sorry. Anyway, that was a tangent. Tattoo shop or private studio?
Private studio.
Sauna or hot tub?
Hot tub.
Mag or liner?
Mag.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Lettering or illustrations?
Lettering.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Stencil or freehand?
Freehand.
Phone call or text?
Text.
Bright colors or dark colors?
Dark colors.
And last one, ice cream or snow cone?
Ice cream. It's like, I don't know.
Love it, love it. So, for those of you watching, you are free to interpret her answers in whatever way you see fit. Um, I know some people are super mad about the ice cream or snow cone. I'm personally a snow cone girl. I honestly expected a different answer with that one, especially with you being in New York. But maybe that means I don't know enough about people who live in New York. I just feel like snow cone is like a more,
It's beach.
summer.
We don't have beaches here, so snow cones are beachy. You get those at like on like a beach.
True, 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 true. See, this is why I feel like I should allow people to explain, but then it's more entertaining when they don't explain. So we'll leave it at that. But thank you so much for being available, to share a little bit of your time, to let us get to know you a little bit better and share, your experiences and your thoughts about tattoo industry and where everything's going. When coronavirus is over and done sabotaging, our summer, hopefully sometime in the fall or maybe even early next year, I'm going to be reaching out to a couple of you all in order to get like an in-person thing. And I think I remember talking to you about that when I first started coming up with this idea. Is like I wanted to do the in-person like roundtable discussion. So we're definitely going to be working on that, and I look forward to inviting you there, seeing you there. But thank you for those of you who tuned in. Again, as usual, this is Ink Therapy. It's brought to you by the Tatted app. Make sure that you follow not only Josie, but the Tatted app as well. They are TATTD_app. I'm Malka X, and we will see y'all next time. Thanks again.